Good evening, everyone. We're continuing with 3 minutes of Tehillim. We're up to Perek, Kuf Yud Tes, Psalm 119. This is, in fact, the longest Perek of all of Tehillim, with 176 psukim. So we're going to go through all of them. Just joking. No, we're not going to go through all of them. It's interesting that the longest Masechta in Shas, Bava Basra, also has 176 dafim, even though it wasn't written with Ruach HaKodesh. It didn't even, the printing of it wasn't at the hands of Jews, but Kadosh Baruch Hu has his way of Siyata Dishmaya, of arranging things in such a way that it came out 176 pages, as the same amount of psukim as the longest Perek in all of Tehillim. There are different minhagim, different customs that I've noticed of people saying this particular Perek. The Chidah writes, you should try to recite this every single week. I've noticed that Hakamas Matsevos, at different unveilings, people I've seen used it as the name of the person, and they will the whole Perek is it's a acrostic of 8 psukim for each letter in the alphabet. So they'll take someone's name and they'll spell out the name according to Perek Kuf Yud Tes, and each of the letters of the name have 8 psukim that correspond to it. I'm not sure if you do Ben, Harav, Hagon, something, Levi, whatever, and depending on how far you're going to go with that. Why 8 psukim specifically? Why does it have for every letter 8 psukim? So the Radak says something interesting. He says that he gives a sort of a category of different things that all of, he calls the milos, or of these 8 words are all chaluke kol haTorah. The entirety of the Torah could be broken down into 8 categories. I counted them; they're a little bit more than 8, but I guess there's some overlap. And but he says derech, Torah, edus, Pikudim, Mitzvah, Amira, Dibor, Mishpat, Tzedek. I mentioned there are more than 8. Emunah and Chukim. Different areas of Torah that we can distill into 8 different categories. We don't have time to go through all of them. I wanted to focus on one pasuk, and that is pasuk Yud Beis. Baruch atah Hashem lamdeni chukecha. You may be familiar with this pasuk because there's an interesting halacha that if a person starts to say a bracha, and either they know that they're saying the wrong one, or they just are not having proper intent, and they say Baruch Atah Hashem, Hashem's name, so they can quickly say Lamdeni Chukecha, which is the way that the pasuk literally means train me or teach me in your laws, and you can sort of catch yourself where you just said a pasuk, you didn't use Hashem's name in vain by saying an incorrect bracha. So you sort of recover in the midst of the mistaken bracha by saying Lamdeni Chukecha. So I was thinking maybe we could connect this together with the previous point that we made. If we understand that even if we intended to say one thing, and we've drifted away, our mind has gotten a little bit distracted, and we can finish with a pasuk, so then we're basically saying that even the teva of a person, even the nature of a person, when we've drifted, Lamdeni chukecha, Hashem, teach me your ways. Allow me, even though I've drifted, even though I'm not consciously aware, even though we would say the mind is not 100% there, but bring me back into the Torah. Bring me back into what I'm really underneath the distracted mind, but underneath my heart is really close to you, Hashem. That may be why they would say, it just happens to be that this pasuk is when you drift away, you can say, Lamdeni chukecha, bring me back to your Torah, which is really, even though my mind drifted, but maybe I'm still there, I'm still focused, even the first few words of the pasuk count, even though I wasn't focusing on them, and I can bring it back and bring it to the Torah, and that may be connected to why the number 8, why 8 psukim, the 22 letters of the alphabet are natural, physical movements of the mouth. They're gim, they're just the palate moving in different forms. They're just physical, literally physical movements of our tongues and our mouths and our different parts of our, all the whole, the throat. And we can use these letters, and the number 8 represents beyond the physical world. And we can use these letters, and we can elevate a physical, literally mechanical movement of our mouth to make words and to speak and to elevate ourselves, and that's the same idea of the mind drifting away. Lamdini chukecha, bring me back, even though I have a physical limitations, but my teva, my natural state, is really to be connected to you, Hashem, and that's why perhaps the number 8 of each letter of the alphabet would be precisely the right number, because again, 7 is the is the physical world, the 7 days of the week, the eighth is beyond the physical, and that's where we're really anchoring ourselves in the letters of the alphabet. We're able to use physical expressions, physical letters, but utilize the holiness of the alphabet.